It's my pleasure to introduce the Executive Vice President of the AI and Research Team at Microsoft, Dr. Harry Shum. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today here in San Francisco. Exactly a year ago at San Francisco, we introduced this new division at Microsoft called the Microsoft AI and Research. And we actually have the mission to democratize AI for everyone. So it has been a very exciting year. 2017 has been, we expected and it delivered to be a very exciting year. So I'm here to share some of the progress with you. I appreciate this opportunity to show you especially some very practical ways that AI is helping everyone to improve our lives. So everyone is talking about AI nowadays, but AI is really not new. AI was really really the ultimate goal that for brilliant minds, people like Alan Turing, those people imagine that someday if we have this unbelievable computing power, what could we really do? The first thing that Alan Turing really imagined was doing AI, is really mimicking human intelligence. And at Microsoft, our very own Bill Gates, when he created Microsoft Research 26 years ago, he imagined that someday computers could see, hear, talk, and understand the human beings. That's really generalized AI. And AI is now happening fast. Why is that? To me, it's really three forces that are converging to make this thing happen. It's really the big data, more and more with the web, with IoT and everything, and massive computing power, especially with the cloud. But most recently, especially with breakthrough algorithms like deep learning or deep neural nets, that really moved AI from the labs to the mainstream. So today we are going to talk to you about everyday AI. It's really, the AI is available, to everyone, everywhere, and whatever you do, in your personal and professional life. So how AI is going to help. But in many ways, if you just read articles in the general press, AI probably has gotten a bad reputation, because much of the AI discussion is about humans versus machines, but not enough about AI potentials. We know AI will transform every business, help every life, and potentially solve some of those societal challenges that we all face. And you might ask that all sounds great, but what about the Microsoft AI? What's so unique about what we do at Microsoft about AI? Well, we believe that AI comes down to one thing: people. AI will amplify human ingenuity, making people the heroes and driving a healthy connection between humans and the machines. That's what we believe at Microsoft. After all, that's really about the Microsoft's mission. That is, empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Now I would even add, with AI. It's really a powerful mission. And not too long ago, our CEO, Satya Nadella, shared our worldview. That is the intelligent cloud and the intelligent edge infused by AI. In a way, it's really about the ubiquitous computing and the ambient intelligence finally happening with PCs, phones, and more IoT devices. Just imagine that you walk into any room, you walk to a speaker, you walk to a screen, or you don't even realize that those things are happening, existing in the room. Then you can already talk to Cortana to get things done. Maybe across the room with the help of far-field cameras and the far-field speakers. So our goal is really to help everyone, everywhere, and take advantage of AI every day. So that is exactly why Satya and I actually created our AI and the Research division a little over a year ago. It has been a really exciting year, and with more than 8,000 researchers and engineers working together very closely, we're making great progress. And in particular, we leverage the talent and the technology coming out of our Microsoft Research Labs by accelerating the cycle from research to the product. And take a quick look at the video about some exciting things that we have been doing last year. Actually, how we even help people, without voices, how they can communicate using AI. And clearly, I could use some help here too. So, yeah.
Back in the middle of our products and into the hands. It's great to see ideas and technologies that have come smack in the middle of our products and into the hands of our users.
You have lunch with Tony at CJ's from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m.
It's changing the way that we work with the land, and it's changing the way the land works for us.
Top and left edge is not visible. Hold steady. Lease agreement.
Hey, Cortana, what's my schedule today?
AI is going to change everyday life. Our goal is that we make it a lot better for people.
Well, this is, of course, just a small sample of so many things happening in Microsoft AI and R. And I want to explain to you those areas that we actually make investments. There are really 5 things that we do in Microsoft AI and R. And we started with Microsoft Research and with a lot of groundbreaking AI technologies there. Then we build a lot of AI products, products like Bing and Cortana, helping you with everyday lives. And we're infusing AI into all Microsoft products, with Windows and Office and many others. And we built AI platforms. It's really truly a cloud and AI platform that we can help Microsoft developers and the partners to build their AI applications. And we also see incredible opportunities there with AI solutions. Practically, every vertical industry is going to be disrupted, whether it's healthcare or transportation, and every horizontal business processes, whether it's marketing, sales, or customer support, and will be disrupted by AI. So we see incredible opportunities there. But let me first of all show you a few highlights, the coolest technology we have developed from MSR, Microsoft Research, getting into the real products. The first example I want to talk to you is on speech recognition. Just a few months ago, we announced that for the first time ever, now we actually have the speech recognition system that match human parity in terms of error rate. There has been this standard data set in the United States called the switchboard data set. That was initially set up by DARPA 25 years ago. So the human error rate is around 5.1%. I'm not even talking about ordinary humans. I'm talking about the professionals who do transcript. With the deep neural nets, with massive computing power, and with the brilliance of our researchers, so we finally reached the human parity in the 5.1%. And the second area I want to talk to you is actually machine reading comprehension or natural language understanding. Last year, we acquired this Montreal-based deep learning company called Maluba. They do amazing work in reading and writing and machine reading comprehension. You will see more and more Maluba technologies getting into Microsoft products in Office, in Bing, and other places. The third area is actually in machine translation. So we have been doing machine translation for a long, long time in our research labs But now you can get machine translation in many, many products. A few years ago, we shipped the machine translation in Skype Translator. Last year, we actually shipped a Microsoft Translator in iOS and other mobile apps. And just a month ago, with great partnership with Huawei, now we're actually shipping machine translator in those Huawei's flagship phones like Mate 10. And clearly that, with all those comparison data, we see that we now have the most accurate machine translator on any mobile phones today, actually, with Huawei's Mate 10. So those are the really exciting things, in research with the technology, and we're moving to mainstream products. And I want to talk about the AI platform as well. Just imagine what it would like that if all the developers could use all those cool technology that we have in Microsoft and from our labs. What if we actually make them available, especially through our cloud platform? So we actually have one of the most comprehensive cloud plus AI platforms on the market. There are really three pieces that I want you to understand as we talk about AI platforms. These are the services that we can offer, and there's the infrastructure, there's AI on data and the AI compute. And there's also tools like Visual Studio tools, Visual Studio tools for AI that we recently shipped. And with limited time today, I'm going to just deep dive into some of the services that we are actually already shipping. So first of all, I'd like to share with you that more than 760,000 developers are already using Microsoft Cognitive Services. This is a great set of web APIs. Developers can just take them and weave into their own applications. And it's really great to see the mix of the customers like Molson Coors and the UPS, Aurora Healthcare, how they have been using Microsoft's Cognitive Services. And we really want to help every developer to become an AI developer. It's not only just our partners. At Microsoft, we use Cognitive Services too to create unique user experiences. One of my favorites is this little app called Seeing AI. We actually launched it in July. It's an app using computer vision and AI technology to help the blind and the visually impaired. And it's amazing to see that more than 100,000 downloads already happened. And it has a reading of 4.8. It's really very touching to me, how we can actually create apps that people really depend on, and there's a great response from the community. And today we are releasing even more great features, for Seeing AI app, such as currency recognition, color recognition, and the light detection. I encourage you to take time after this and stop by their booths and check out. And you will learn the great user design questions there, how you can even take those technology, help people who couldn't really see very well. It makes you think about the design very differently, like using different modalities to help. So this is just one example. The other thing we feel very, very good about, we know, it's really helpful to the developers, is that among all those 30 APIs we already shipped, one of them is called the language understanding service. It's called the LUIS. That is really, really getting very, very popular. And the customers like Dixon's Carphone, Sabre, and the Human Interact, and we really appreciate their help, giving us the feedback and helped us to get the product to certain quality. Today, I'm very happy to announce that LUIS now is GA, is generally available. So it's very, very exciting. And another thing, and I want to talk about today, helping the developers, is actually Azure bot services. Many, many companies, companies like Progressive, Unilever, Publicis, they want to build the bots and the apps to interact with the customers, with the employees, much like, we talk to each other, just like humans. And we offer the Azure bot service not only help you to create the bots, but also help you to deploy the bots and also help you to run your bots. And we already have 240,000 developers using Azure bot services, even in the preview format. But today we're announcing that it's GA now. So it's very exciting. And of course, we realize that as we develop AI, we really have to drive the connection with the AI community. And to democratize AI is not just the one company's responsibility, it's really the whole community's responsibility. I'll give you a few examples here, what we have been doing at Microsoft. The first example is this intermediate representation, this thing called ONNX. It's called the Open Neural Network Exchange Project that we started with Facebook in September. It's really an open source format that enables those AI frameworks to interoperate with each other. So this is example number one. The second example is actually what we have been doing with Amazon. It's called Gluon. So Gluon is an AI the framework interface. There are so many AI frameworks out there, and we don't want those developers to be confused. They can choose any of the framework, and they can get help from Amazon and Microsoft to start with something called Gluon to bypass all those complexity without sacrificing any of those speed. And the third example I want to share with you is that we have been making a lot of investments with Microsoft Venture in those leading AI companies, emerging companies there. And there's some great examples I show here, like Element.ai and the Bonsai and the Tech. So those are very exciting activities that we do. And another thing I want to share with you is that we see those vertical solutions and very, very exciting. And especially one example, we actually really push hard at Microsoft together with our partners. That is the business AI solutions for customer services. And I'm sure, at some point of your life, you use customer services, and typically, you use customer services, you spend a lot of time, in the end, you still get frustrated. This is where AI can really come in to help. The system you can imagine is that actually you can have a virtual agent, and you have an agent assistant, and a conversational management tool to bring all those things together. We have great partners like HP, Macy's, and the Australian government Department of Human Services already working with us to deliver those fantastic solutions. So those are really exciting things that we have been doing in Microsoft AI and R. But today I want to focus on everyday AI. I want to talk about what are those practical ways, what are those products that we're already shipping with new and cool AI features to really help everyone every day. So let me start with one of those most pervasive forms of AI. It's called search. And you might say, so what's new in search? I have been using search for a long, long time. And I would argue that search has really moved on. It's no longer just 10 blue links. Now, search can be so powerful with the concepts, with dialogues, with many more things. And at Microsoft, we have built Bing really beyond just a search engine. Bing has helped to build Microsoft Cloud services with all those back-end infrastructure. And Bing has become the foundation for AI for our company. And Bing might be just much bigger than you even think about. And we actually launched Bing in year 2007. And it's now powering over a third of the PC web search traffic in the United States, and continues to grow in the US and worldwide. And it also powers some such experiences from many of our partners, including Yahoo, now with Verizon, LL, Amazon, and the multilingual ability of Twitter, and Apple's image search. Of course, through search, we have developed some really foundational AI technologies, especially in natural language understanding. So this is really, a lot of things that we can depend on for the future AI development. So today, I'm very, very excited to introduce 3 new intelligent search capabilities that we're shipping immediately with Bing. The first thing is what we call the intelligent answers. So that utilizes machine reading comprehension to present you with multiple perspectives, share snippets of multiple answers, verify answers across multiple sources, and translates data into easy to understand concepts. So it's not only you see more of the model's answers popping up at the top of the search result page from Bing, but you will get a lot more perspective as well. Second, intelligent image search. That enables you to search image within the images, by leveraging object recognition. So that's another cool way to find what you are really looking for. The third new feature about the new intelligent search in Bing is what I call the conversational search. That really provides the intelligent suggestions to help you to find what you are really looking for. Very often we understand that we want to search for something, but it's really hard to express. What if we actually turn that experience into more a dialogue? So that's the third thing called the conversational search. Please welcome Christina Baer from the Bing team to show you some cool demos. Christina.
Thanks, Harry. At the center of AI is data. It powers everything. And at Microsoft, we have unique data graphs, world knowledge with Bing and work knowledge with the rest of the Microsoft graph. But really, the magic happens when you make sense of all of this information. We've evolved from simple searches and keyword matching to using advanced AI techniques like machine reading comprehension that uses deep learning to understand the meaning behind words. We also need really powerful hardware in order to process these AI models, like deep neural networks. We've partnered with Intel to create industry-leading agility and performance with FPGA chips that allow us to read and understand billions of documents in milliseconds. So how does this apply to your everyday? Today I'm going to show you how AI enables intelligent search in a few ways. One with intelligent answers, Bing for Business, intelligent image search, and a new search paradigm that is for more conversational search. Let's start with something rather mundane, like finding a movie to watch for the holidays. So instead of a simple keyword search, I'm going to use something with more natural language, like movies directed by Spielberg, starring Tom Hanks. Let's use Tom Hanks. Okay. This answer is specific to my actual query. It filtered out TV shows and their other partnerships, but it still included a movie that they're doing together in January. With Bing's vast understanding of the world, people, and entities and how they relate to each other, AI enables us to power more rich and complete answers. Now, let's say I'm doing some research on something a bit more controversial. I'm a vegan, and I take a lot of flack from my family for being an annoying kale pusher. I want to be prepared for the inevitable holiday table debate with my cousin, so I'm going to do a search for facts about kale. This result here is a multi-source answer. Bing uses AI to bring together information from multiple different websites into one place. And at Microsoft, we believe it's important to understand where information comes from. So although we provide quick access and links to content, we're also really careful to make sure we also include sources. So this way I can feel confident about my advocacy of kale. And if I want to be super prepared and understand both sides of an issue, because we don't live in a world of absolutes, I can do a query like, also using natural language, like, is kale good for you? This is a multi-perspective answer. Bing shows alternate viewpoints so that you can understand both sides of an issue. So on one side, I have pro-kale, and then the other side, I have a cautionary tale of why too much kale is bad, so that I don't have to live in a bubble where everything about kale is amazing. And if I really want to embrace this kale-loving lifestyle, I should probably take up yoga or Pilates. But I don't actually really know the difference between them. So if I do a search for difference between yoga and Pilates, I get this comparison answer. Bing has taken comparisons, a feature typically found in product or shopping-based scenarios, and have expanded it to a wider query set. We use machine reading comprehension to read the web and understand entities and their aspects in order to compare differences between items. So I guess yoga seems like it's more my jam, so let's go ahead and pick that. And I've heard a lot about yoga retreats in Costa Rica. But I don't actually have a sense for how big is Costa Rica. This is a relational answer. In addition to showing the actual square miles, I'm also told it's about twice the size of Massachusetts, which is incidentally my home state, so I have a sense of what that means. Bing has used AI and add some perspective into information. So not only are we using AI to search across the billions of documents in the web, we're also using AI to make information more understandable. Because while the engineer in me geeks out on all this data, the designer in me knows that real user delight comes from making data make sense. So all of these new experiences, multiple sources, multiple perspectives, comparisons, and relational answers, they all make up what we call intelligent answers. So all of these everyday AI capabilities are awesome, but what if we could apply them to the context of work? That's exactly what we've done with Bing for Business. For starters, let me just go back to the Bing homepage. Because I'm signed in with my Microsoft Work account, at the bottom of my homepage, I can see industry-related news, and that's relevant to me, a person in tech. And beyond this personalization, let me show you what the Microsoft Graph and AI can do for workplace productivity. So I have a Microsoft holiday party coming up, and the fabulous Harry Shum is my executive vice president. So because I'm signed in and I have Bing for Business enabled, I type in Harry's org, and note that I'm not using his last name, but it still provides me with the org chart for the right Harry, even though there are plenty of great Harrys that work at Microsoft. Also in the same experience are web results that are related to the query Harry's org. So Bing for Business brings together the best of corporate intranet search with the best of web search all into one experience. So if I do something a little bit more complicated, like how much vacation do I get? Because of the FPGA chip, I get answers in milliseconds. And if for something super obscure, I can search for, can I hire my cousin? Machine reading comprehension powers this answer. What you'll notice here is that cousin isn't even mentioned in the passage. That's because Bing knows that cousin is a family member and understands the meaning behind words to get me the right answer. Not that I would hire my kale-hating cousin anyway. So for this holiday party, I'm also gonna wanna find something festive to wear, but it is a work event, so I'm gonna search for work-appropriate holiday cocktail dress. And then I'm gonna go to our image vertical, and then this one looks appropriately festive. Bing Intelligent Image uses computer vision, an AI technique, in order to find dresses that look just like this one with direct links to buy, so that I can look around and do some price comparisons. And the other thing it does is our object detection allows me to rescope this query on just this necklace. So now I can find necklaces that look very similar to one in this photo, again with direct links to buy. Bing is intelligent search that saves time and money. Okay, in addition to intelligent answers, Bing for Business, and intelligent image search, we're also using AI to make the search box itself more conversational with an interactive guided search experience. We hear a lot from customers that they wish search could just complete their sentences. If I do a vague search, like I'm feeling stressed, which may or may not be because of this demo, I get this guided search experience. So I get, obviously, the web results you'd expect from a search engine. I get our answers. But then up top, what you'll see here is that it prompts for additional query refinement. So I can go through and pick stress management, and then breathing exercises. And then I can also kind of expand to see my previous results. What's different here is that search is building upon the last search. So it's a little bit more conversational, a little bit more personalized. What we're able to do with this is get you better answers faster. This is a new search paradigm. We are amplifying our extensive knowledge graph with AI. Our expertise in conversational AI with our bots like Xiaowais and Zoe are brought together with our vast data, enables Bing to create a new interactive search experience that gets you better answers faster. If I do another example for, let's see, Seattle verse, I'm prompted for popular rivalry. So I'm gonna select the Rams here, And then here you'll see an answer of an upcoming game on the 17th. In addition to web links and this awesome answer, I can also see who Bing predicts to win. So we're predicting that the Rams will win by 51%. Bing uses search, social, and other relevant data signals in order to make predictions on sports, reality TV shows, and more. And if I do another really ambiguous search, like set default, without any context of what default I'm trying to set, I'm prompted with very popular things that people set defaults for. Conversational search uses large-scale machine learning, so this experience is only going to get better over time. AI learns from user engagement, so we're really excited for the future of conversational search. What I've shown you today, intelligent answers, Bing for Business, intelligent image search, and a new conversational guided search is just a small sampling of how we are using AI to create intelligent search. All of these experiences are either live today or starting to roll out today. Thank you. Let me turn it back over to Harry.
Well, thank you very much, Christina. Well, I hope you like those demos, and you may not realize this. People really underestimate, how much time they spend searching for the right information. Even more so, how much time they actually continue to search for whether this is the right information. So this is where, natural language understanding, machine reading comprehension is just going to be so important, and it's doing the work for you. And there's another thing that's really important is that you also want to know that as people talk about this kind of information, where is the conversation, and to add some credibility to all this kind of interesting topics. So gone are the days of those endless blue links, but today's search is really about the real answers, real perspectives, and the real conversations. That's why I'm so excited to announce today a new partnership with Reddit. We are working together to bring relevant Reddit conversations to answers in Bing and bringing Bing entities to Reddit. So talk about those unique applications of AI at the intersection of social news and the conversations and the search. Let me welcome up Alexis Ohanian, co-founder of Reddit. Alexis.
Thank you so much, Harry. How are you doing? Very happy to be here. Hello, everyone. Good day. This is pretty exciting. If you can believe it, before Reddit was the front page of the internet, it was a fun little project that my college buddy and I were starting in a small little apartment in Medford, Massachusetts. This was back in 2005. We just graduated. We had no idea what we were doing, but we knew enough and had people who believed in us enough to take a chance. And Reddit today now has hundreds of millions of users, 340 million monthly active users. And about 2 years ago, my co-founder and our CEO, Steve, came back, and it was really instrumental in bringing him back to get the company reset and to start doing a lot of the things that basically we wished we had done maybe a decade ago. Reddit was sold in 2006 to Condé Nast. It's now independent, and for the last 2 years has been shipping a ton of code, building some really amazing partnerships, and building up a team, including a very formidable BD team, a couple of whom are here, who basically took a chance on us a couple years ago because there was no BD process and said, we want to be a part of this. We see the potential. And what you're seeing here today with this partnership with Microsoft is actually a really good example of just how far we've come in actually a pretty short time. So while Reddit, the website, is 12 years old, Reddit Inc., the new entity, is really only about 2-3 years old, and we're so proud to be announcing this partnership here with Microsoft and Bing today. So giving you a little bit of the backstory, told you a bit about myself. I'm co-founder of Reddit. And I've never really understood the scale of Reddit, which I know sounds crazy. I'm a co-founder, one of the original users, but I never really understood the scale of Reddit until this partnership, because when you're in the middle of it all, it's kind of hard to really understand the numbers behind just how many conversations and just how many communities exist on the Reddit platform. And look, if I can't navigate it or grok it, then heaven help everyone else. And so the last 2.5-3 years have really been a cause for us to make Reddit more accessible to the masses. If you haven't used the Reddit app, I encourage you to do so. It's only a year old, if you can believe it. And my wife takes credit for having sparked it because one of our first conversations was her confessing to me she had no idea what Reddit was, immediately doing a search on her phone, not finding an app, and thinking I was a liar. But that's the world we live in today, right? We very quickly look app first. Reddit didn't have a mobile presence to speak of, didn't even have a mobile website. Now we do. It's beautiful. The desktop, as you may have seen Steve unveil at Web Summit, is also getting a redesign. It will look beautiful, it will look modern, but every one of these are steps toward getting this great content in front of as many people as possible, as accessibly as possible. And this partnership with Bing is helping us do that on a whole nother level. And just some of the numbers. Like I said, 330 million monthly active users on Reddit, 10.7 million post submissions per month. It's a very active user base. 2.8 million comments per day. Reddit is the one social network that is not anti-social. It's the one place where you'll actually read the comments first before looking at the content because they provide so much value. The reason those comments provide so much value is because the hundreds of millions of users, like probably many of you all, upvote the good ones, downvote the bad ones, and a really brilliant algorithm that Steve came up with as a 21-year-old sorts the good from the bad. And this is a pretty remarkable thing. And actually, just by a quick show of hands, how many of you in the room are Redditors? It's okay if you're using Reddit right now. I won't take it personally. Okay, thank you. Upvotes to all of you. And also thank you for being so brave that you're willing to out yourselves as the least productive people in this room. That is impressive. Over 138,000 active communities for whatever your passion, whatever your love, whether it is the Seattle Seahawks, or whether it is sneakers. Hopefully there's a few of you sneakerheads here who can appreciate the off-whites that I'm wearing right now. But these are the communities whose opinions we actually care about. I don't care what my friends from college think about shoes because they have terrible taste. I care about what this community of people, this peer group that I care about thinks. And isn't that how we humans have worked all along? Right? People come to Reddit to see this breadth of different communities, to get advice, to get feedback, to get a better understanding of their world and the things they care about. Whether they're shopping for beard care products. Yes, there are a number of beard care communities, r/beards being one of my favorites. If you don't like beards, that's fine. They'll grow on you. Okay, all right, that's fine. Or maybe you're a new parent like I was and really, really worried because every photo every parent I know puts on the internet is perfect and pristine because that's the image we want to show to the world. But when your kid's screaming at 4 a.m., you're not thinking, let me take a selfie. You're thinking, I need someone to commiserate with. And the Daddit community on Reddit was the place for me and for so many more, whether they need skincare advice. r/skincare of addiction could have saved my teen years. I would have found Accutane a lot faster, but it didn't exist. There was no place to go to talk about this stuff because these are the conversations people can really only have on a platform like Reddit with that scale. And so all this amazing content is sitting there. It's sitting there. So much content, so engaging. We average about 12 minutes per session, right? This is stuff that is highly engaging, but as long as it is just on Reddit, we know that we're still missing out on a much broader audience that we know can benefit from it. And so when we were thinking, how do we find partners who can get us to a massive audience and a massive mainstream reach? Bing, there you go. This partnership with Microsoft is just the beginning. And we've got 3 big things around the intelligent search experience that we're unveiling today. But as I've told everyone here in the little conversations leading up to this is just the start. So like I said, 3 big things that are going to integrate Reddit content more directly, more beautifully, more helpfully into Bing search results. The first of which, Ask Me Anythings. This brand is probably as well known as Reddit itself. Many platforms have tried to copy the model, but they've all failed. The magic is in the context. A crowdsourced Q&A on its surface doesn't seem really interesting until you put it in the context of a community. And until you can see what happens when the science community gets a chance to talk to an expert like Jane Goodall and ask their very best and very smartest questions. And they don't have to be celebrities, right? One of the most popular AMAs of all time was a vacuum repairman. It's true, he actually came back on recently. He's now a vacuum repair manager He got a promotion in the last few years. That's not a joke, I'm serious. And it may be in no small part thanks to the Reddit AMA. He spent 24 hours answering literally every question someone could post about a vacuum, and believe me, there are a lot of fascinating questions about vacuums, from like, what's the weirdest thing you've found in a vacuum, to like, I have this particular model and it makes this whir, whir, whir noise every 30 seconds, right? These are conversations you won't find anywhere else, but it turns out are actually really valuable and really nuanced and really special. And we know that there are people, whether they know it or not, who are searching for this every day on Bing, but now we're providing them a world-class experience to find it. Secondly, Reddit content itself, as well as the responses around a Bing user's question. Now this is fun, right? We're seeing more and more queries now phrased as questions. And part of that's the rise of voice, and part of that is just the fact that like, we're just getting used to talking to the robot and expecting a good answer. The challenge here is there's a lot of nuance when you're asking these kinds of open-ended questions. And Reddit is the largest data set in the English-speaking world of vetted, nuanced responses. The greatest NFL play is a very different answer depending on whether you're asking it in New England or in Seattle. The NFL fans that I'm talking about. So like, what is so important here is that we have this data set. We've had it actually for a very long time, and it gets bigger and bigger every day. But we ourselves are still building a data team within Reddit just to understand all the myriad of things we have to worry about. We needed some partners who could bring in the heavy lifting around artificial intelligence, who were really comfortable dealing with a massive data set. And again, it came back to Microsoft. And then finally, the third thing, making Reddit communities and their top content, these are also known as subreddits, more accessible to a user who runs that Bing query, finds some results, and whether they're looking for cute animal photos, which is a great reason, or looking for cooking advice, they find a rich, arresting visual look into that community. We have so many people who visit Reddit who may not even be fully aware of how much is there beneath the surface, and having these search results be obvious and beautiful and visual is one more step to getting them aware of it. So we wanted to help people find the great content on Reddit. Bing has been such a great partner in doing this. And like I said, AMAs are they were such low-hanging fruits. One of the things that's never been done before that we're thrilled to be announcing here is actually now for the first time in Bing search results, you will see upcoming AMAs. Now this seems sort of obvious, but it's actually something that we've never done before. And so a very common complaint we hear from people is, oh my goodness, how did I miss fill in the blank, was doing this AMA? It's tough, right? Because if you don't know in advance, then maybe you find out about it while it's going on, or maybe you read about it a day later on your friend's Facebook page, or maybe you read about it a week later on BuzzFeed. But one way or another, you wish you had known in advance. And so it's really exciting. We now actually can have this as a part of these search results. So Leah Remini has done a couple of AMAs now around her documentary series on A&E, around Scientology. And so here's an example, as you'll see on the right rail, Q&A with Leah Remini, upcoming date, time, and this is all being pulled from Reddit. And so when someone runs that query because they heard something about her or her documentary series, they know this event is happening, they can set their alarm, they can do what they need to do to make sure they're a part of this moment. And this is, a transformative thing for us. We have so many people who find their gateways to Reddit through these AMAs. Because if you haven't necessarily heard of Reddit, you've heard of that celebrity or that influencer or that maybe you also own a vacuum that you want to learn from and hear from, and this becomes a great gateway. And so this is using an example of a past AMA as though it were upcoming. In case you're trying to set your calendars for it, it's not going to work because it was November 29th. But you'll see that's how it's going to look. But then there's also the leveling up of how past AMAs are appearing in search results. So Jane Goodall, I wasn't lying, she did an amazing job with an AMA on Reddit, getting asked questions that are the best of an audience that is very interested in science. Now you could cut this a bunch of different ways, right? We see AMAs happening across all the different communities on Reddit. So the questions she'll get there are a little different, a little more nuanced than the questions she gets from the environment community, which are a little different from the questions she might get from the 2X chromosomes community, which are a little different from the questions she might get from the et cetera, communities. Bing can handle all of this. And through robots that I don't understand and certainly would not challenge in a game of chess, figure out what the best results should be and present them in a way that's digestible and accessible for a user. So you can see the Q&A with Jane Goodall, the top comment, the top response. Believe me, I've heard a few times that the current desktop version of Reddit is a little hard to grok at first glance. These beautiful results let someone who's running a Bing query find this great content, dive into it instantly, and see the very best of what the Reddit community has to offer, and really what the best that Jane Goodall and others have to offer. You'll start seeing top AMAs in these search results. Here are the best AMAs of all time. I have to admit, I didn't even know. I missed about half of these. And it's been a busy year, but now they exist here with beautiful thumbnails right up top for anyone to come see. Right? This is more accessibility into the rich wealth of Reddit content that we know is there, but isn't always the most accessible. And this is part of a much bigger rollout for us. That carousel will continue to update. And we'll continue to see the very best of these Q&A results, these Reddit conversations that bubble up to the top. And so perspectives from Reddit conversations are interesting, right? Because like I said, Reddit's the one place where conversation actually happens online and where the best stuff, as determined by that community, bubbles up. And this has been fun for me because I've revisited moments and times in my life that I didn't think I would ever again, thanks to Reddit. We have millions of users across 100,000 plus communities, and they understand nuance because it's a human asking the question and a bunch of humans answering it and the best stuff being voted up. And this is great data for the Bing team to start to learn what really the best answers are for questions that might not be the easiest for a robot. For instance, how accurate is HBO's Band of Brothers? Now this was totally serendipitous. When the Microsoft team presented this to me, I got really excited. Band of Brothers was the show that Steve and I would binge on while we were building Reddit. And we'd, at the end of a long workday, we'd get on top of the roof in Somerville and crack open a couple beers and watch Band of Brothers. We obsessed over this series. It's a really, really well done series. And I was a history major, believe it or not. And with that history degree, I studied European history, I still had questions watching this. And when I dive onto the Ask Historians community on Reddit, I actually have a window into the very best historians, history students, maybe armchair historians imaginable, because this community actually self-curates. They require citation for posts, and they can provide a really valuable insight on a subject matter that has shades of nuance. Right? A question like how accurate is HBO's Band of Brothers is not a simple binary yes, right? It's a, well, yeah, in a lot of ways it is. Here's what they got right, here's what they got wrong, here's a thing that's pretty disputed, and here are two different points of view. Now, as humans, we love this, especially if you like history. This is what we relish. We get to dig into this because there are different perspectives. Robots don't work so well with the nuance unless they have this data. And so now we're seeing results that are actually helpful and valuable, and you see trending comments, and look, it's like I am transported back to those history classes in school with the very best ideas being voted up. And we're seeing the same thing in results, even around things that may seem pretty obvious, like why my pot isn't boiling with water. Now look, I know if you watch it, technically it's not supposed to. Turns out that is not scientific fact. But if you've tried, like I have, to boil one of those huge, I'm just doing a crawfish boil. You ever try to, I mean, you fill that thing up with water and put it on high, and you will find that it actually takes a really long time. There's a whole community of people frustrated, wondering, and asking Bing for an answer to this. And now they can actually get really helpful results. They can get an understanding from a chemist's point of view, from a science community. They can also get an understanding from a chef's point of view, and maybe some tricks to help solve that little boiling problem. This is all about presenting that great content in a much more accessible way to Bing users who may or may not even be aware of Reddit when they're running the query, because we know this content is valuable. And this is special because we see this as a window in to frankly help people discover new communities they didn't even know they wanted to be a part of. They didn't even know they were into. 130,000 communities means a ton of opportunities for you to find something that you love on Reddit. And it's about cute animals sometimes. This is a window into the awe community, one of our largest, featuring lots of photos of cats and dogs and other animals. And now with this wonderful first-class treatment, when you see these results, you actually see a window in. You see the votes, you see the comments, you see beautiful thumbnails. You are invited into a community now in a way that is probably new to a lot of internet users. Because we're so used to a one-way conversation, now we're exposing them to the magic of real conversation on Reddit. And maybe you would have gotten confused otherwise. I mean, data is beautiful. On the surface, seems like a community all about saying how attractive the android from Star Trek is. And you grammar aficionados obviously know that technically it should say data are beautiful, but we're not going to nitpick. The Data is Beautiful community is actually the largest community of data visualization fans, of stats fans. All they do is share data sets and visualizations all the time. It's a fabulous community. Now it's showing up in context in a beautiful way to see what the trending aspects and trending discussions are on that community and directly linked to Reddit posts. And like I said, this is mutually beneficial. It's helping us bring a whole new, even broader swath of internet users onto Reddit in a really useful, accessible, beautiful way. And then it's also going to power Bing search results so those continue to get better and better over time using data that only Reddit has. And that's actually thanks to a lot of you, thanks to your comments and your upvotes. We know this, and so now we can share it, and we can make both of our platforms better as a result. And like I said from jump, this is just the start. Reddit may be 12 years old on the internet, but it's really only a few years old as a business. And the growth and the great success we've had in the last few years is just the beginning. This partnership is like a crown jewel for us, but we're not complacent. We know we still have a lot of work to do, and we have very big ambitions. And this just scratches the surface on our relationship with Microsoft AI and Reddit data. We're also launching today here Power BI. So I've had to talk to CMOs all over, Fortune 100 companies, who have been asking for a crystal ball. Wouldn't we all like that, to be able to get in front of the water cooler where the conversations, the real conversations, are happening among the people who we care most about the things we care most about. And Reddit is the place. Whether you want to know what the trending sneakers are before anyone else, or, I mean, I've had countless people come up to me and just thank me. And I've asked them why, and they said r/Bitcoin. And I can only imagine it's because 6 years ago, they were on that community, seeing all the inertia, seeing all the traction, buying an ample share of Bitcoin at a way cheaper price than it is today, and have benefited very generously from it. But whether you want to know the trends for the latest cryptocurrency that's going to pop, or whether you want to know what makeup people are really hot for, you will find out on Reddit first. But historically, it's been really hard. You've had to actually spend lots of time being on those communities, being on the platform. And now, thanks to this, with Power BI, we now have these business intelligence modules to do the work for you. The robots are doing the hard stuff. And so the trends that you want to track, the keywords that you want to follow, any of the brand insights you want to monitor, we're letting the robots do that work now. And so we want all of these people to get this data so that we can give them the crystal ball. Turns out it's been on Reddit for a while. We're just really grateful now to have Microsoft to help us actually bring it to life, to actually help us build that crystal ball. And we're really lucky too. Alex Ricamini, who is our Director of Business Development, and Noam Kadori, who's our Head of Data Partnerships, are here. And we've got a cool little booth just around the corner, so you can talk to them. You can ask them anything regarding Power BI or any of the stuff that we've announced today. But again, I can't stress enough, this is just the start. And this has been an exciting 2-3 years now since coming back, but the next 2 or 3 are going to be even more amazing. And I'm grateful to Microsoft for helping be such wonderful partners in this journey. So thank you.
It's really an exciting partnership. I just couldn't really think about it any better win-win partnerships. Imagine that, what we can do together with 330 million Reddit users and the 450 million Bing users worldwide. It's just amazing that we can really do to use AI to transform not only the search experience, but also what this web community can all work together. So I hope you will have a chance to really try this new Bing experience with all those intelligent answers, with perspectives and the conversations. This is a new norm as you think about the new user search experience. But I want to switch gear a little bit in talking about another place where intelligence will come up. That is really intelligent digital assistants, Cortana. I want to talk about Cortana. I'm sure by now you have heard a lot of the intelligent assistants popping up from many companies. You definitely have a question that, so what's so unique about the Microsoft Cortana? I tell you 2 things about the Microsoft Cortana that's really unique. Number 1, Cortana is really designed for you to go across your work life, your work and life. And as you can imagine that, the lines between work and life are really blurry. just think about that, your email accounts that you use at home and that you use at work. So this is why we actually designed Cortana to become the best digital assistant to help you to get things done, whether you're at home, at work, or on the go. And for example, Cortana will help you to find the emails and remind you your commitments you may or may not already forgotten, and recommend the meeting times on shared accounts. So this is why that we actually have now the support to really have help you to work across different email systems. So we actually now can work, added Gmail support for calendar and the email so that Cortana can help you get across multiple email systems. So I'm very happy to announce that we actually have this ability today. In Cortana, you will see a demo very soon. So the second thing very unique about the Cortana I want to share with you is that it's not really about our own Cortana devices only. So we really want to bring Cortana to as many devices as possible. And we, for example, launched this Harman Kardon speaker recently with a beautiful voice quality and all those digital assistant quality and the user experience. And we also announced this partnership, Cortana and Alexa, with Amazon. Because we actually believe that it's important that we offer very unique user experience, especially across work and life on different devices. But that's not all. We also want Cortana to appear in as many applications as possible, whether it's Microsoft's own Windows and the Office and others, and all on Android and iOS applications in other platforms. So this is why I'm so excited to announce 2 new mobile launcher on Android platform, our own Microsoft launcher and Cheetah Mobile. Our partner, they actually have one of those top productivity launcher in the Android Google Play Store. And the Cheetah Mobile's launcher will be available immediate with our Cortana embedded, and the Microsoft launcher will have Cortana capability in a couple of months. So these integrations with Cortana is really, we do that to help more people across multiple platforms. It's really coming back to my earlier point that is, you think about that, the lines between work and life getting blurred. Why did you need assistant? Where did you need assistant? So this is really our commitment to help people to get things done even faster. So one thing I want to remind everyone is that as we design those digital assistants like Cortana, it's really about the conversational AI. It's really not just about you have one question, then you get an answer, then you get out of there. It's really encourage you to get into the dialogue. So I want to invite Christina to come up to show you some of those interesting Cortana demos. Christina.
Thanks, Harry. So first and foremost, Cortana is a fantastic workplace productivity assistant. It can help with things that normally take a lot of time and a lot of steps. One example is finding time with my very busy VP, Jordy. Hey, Cortana. Set up a meeting called FY18 Goals with Jordy Ribas.
Looks like you and Jordy are both free at 9:30 a.m. on Monday, January 8th. When would you like to meet?
9:30 a.m. on January 8th.
Okay, I've scheduled FY18 Goals with you and Jordy at 9:30 a.m. on Monday, January 8th. Is that right?
Yes.
Got it.
January, I told you he was busy. Before today, I would have wasted a lot of time going back and forth trying to figure out when we were both free. But now with Cortana, because it understands my calendar and Jordy's calendar, it can suggest the time that's best for both of us. Beyond a pure workplace productivity assistant, we all know that, as Harry said, that the line between work and home, they're blurring more and more each day. The real value in Cortana is in its ability to move across devices and across the different aspects of our lives. It's difficult to schedule a work trip if you don't know what's on your personal calendar. And we all know that sometimes the most urgent email that you receive during a workday is from a family member or from a friend. Cortana summarizes across your different email accounts. Hey, Cortana, what new emails do I have?
You've got 6 new emails in the last hour, 1 from Adam Kirk marked important, 3 from Emma Williams and 2 from Jordi Rebus. Which sender do you want to hear more about?
Adam, please.
Adam Kirk emailed you about Cirque Dreams holidays. Marked important. Want to hear it?
Yes, please.
It says, don't forget to buy Cirque tickets for your parents' visit. What do you think about a Friday? XOME. What should I do with this? Reply or nothing?
Nothing.
All right.
We are all really busy people. But because Cortana blends my work and personal life by reaching across my different email accounts, I can take care of things as they come up. Of course, I could set a reminder and take care of this later, but there is no time like the present. The problem is I don't actually remember when my parents are coming to town. Hey, Cortana, find Mom and Dad on my calendar.
You have Mom and Dad visiting at Seattle from Wednesday, December 20th to Wednesday, December 27th.
Okay. Because Cortana is about helping you wherever you are, it supports integration across calendars with Office 365, Outlook, and now even Gmail. Hey, Cortana, help me find tickets to Cirque Dreams holidays in Seattle on December 22nd.
I have 3 skills that can help you: Ticketmaster, GigSeeker, and StubHub. Which do you want to use?
Ticketmaster, please.
Okay, opening Ticketmaster. I found Cirque Dreams holidays in Seattle on December 22nd at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are $40 to $80. Do you want to pick your seats or buy the best seats available?
Best seats available, please.
Okay, how many seats do you need?
4, please.
Okay, I found 4 seats row D, seats 6 to 9. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, I have 4 seats for Cirque Dreams holidays at the Paramount Theater in Seattle on Friday, December 22nd at 7:30 p.m. The total comes out to $394. Say confirm to purchase.
Confirm.
Okay, you're all set. Would you like me to add this to your calendar?
Yes, please also invite Adam.
Okay, I've sent this event to Adam Kirk and added it to your calendar.
Thank you for letting me get that taken care of. Now let me walk you through some of the cool things that just happened here. Instead of me needing to know which specific skill to ask for, Cortana used skill suggestion to connect me to the best place to buy tickets, and then connected me to that third-party skill. And because of I have my credit card information with Ticketmaster, my purchase process was a breeze. Cortana then used a new feature called skill chaining, which understands my overall intent to help me find the next most relevant skill. In this case, it was adding an event to my calendar. How great was that? Using my voice, Cortana was able to help me be super productive in both work and at home. All of this done hands-free. This calendar feature is available now. The next generation of our Cortana Skills Kit is also available today. And then email features that we demoed today will be available next month. But of course, Cortana can help you in more places than just this great speaker. Here's a quick look in some of the places that Cortana can help you be more productive and get things done across Windows, Edge, Skype, and the new mobile launchers.
Hey Cortana, play my dance mix.
booked your workout for 6 p.m. tonight. Can I get you a ride?
Hey Cortana, what's next?
It's really amazing to see, how Cortana has evolved into a really powerful, digital assistant. We have been really thinking a lot in Microsoft how to design the conversational AI systems. Cortana is just one of them. Another one I want to bring your attention to is actually chatbots. So we actually shipped the first chatbot in China about 3.5 years ago. It's called Xiaoai in China. Now actually she has about 100 million users in China and talking to her on average like 23 turns. And she's actually very, very talented in China, and she's even hosting a TV program, morning news program in Shanghai with over 800 million viewership. And she recently actually demonstrated her ability to write poems. She actually published a poetry book, amazing, and that helped helped the Chinese users to write over 2 million poems. And just so you understand the scale, the number of poems, that's more than all the poems ever published in the history of China. So that's only in China. And in Japan, and a year later, we actually launched in Japan called the Rina, the chatbot Rina. And it's even more popular in Japan. 25% of the Japanese population have already talked to Rina in Japan. And she's also now powering a chatbot for Nintendo's Pokemon. So, and of course, right here in the United States, as some of you might remember, exactly a year ago, we celebrated the arrival of Zoe, our own chatbot here in the US. In just a year, I'm happy to tell you that now we actually have, she actually has over 1 million users. Just like Xiaoai and Rina, and Zoe actually has developed several AI-driven sensors like voice recognition, image recognition, and the social commenting, and the natural language understanding. People can now rhyme with Zoe in a rap battle, and it's really amazing. Or challenge her for a game of exploding kittens, or even interact with her newest friend, Poppy, a popular YouTuber. It's just amazing things that you can do with chatbots. But then you might wonder, so why did you pay so much attention to chatbots? Let me just say that chit-chat is characteristic of human beings. Just go home and think about this. So most bots or intelligent agents today, like Siri or Cortana, focus on task completion or IQ. Get things done with the skill chaining like what you just saw from Christina's demo. It's fabulous. It's really helping get things done. But it is the emotional intelligence or the EQ that enables sustained conversations, the dialogues, which will be critical to truly understand the human users. So by engaging with the people on a much more social and personal level, our chatbots are developing their EQs. So learning how to react, respond, and based on the data that from those human interaction. So then we can take those learnings and apply them to many other products. So of course, in Microsoft, not only we do those conversational AI products, we also make sure that our AI investments will be infused into all Microsoft products and services that drive deeper and more personal experiences. The first place we start, of course, will be Windows. Windows is already using machine learning and computer vision, for example, to help you to personalize your photos and the videos. It's really amazing to think about the explosion of digital photos. On average, for a Windows user, every year, the user will take 52,000 photos. There's no way you can keep track of so many photos and do something with those photos until now with the help of AI. Let's roll the video and show you what we have been doing with Windows photo and the video.
Today we capture more photos and videos than ever before in history. and we are building a suite of AI-driven tools within Microsoft Photos to transform the way the next generation of Windows users dreams, captures, and expresses themselves. This month, we shipped a brand new search system that uses machine learning to let you find people, places, and things in your photos. To give you a starting point for creating videos, we've created systems that automatically generate movies from your media. Special effects are some of the most coveted features by our Gen Z audience. So we are using computer vision and AI to track objects in your videos. Just ink a doodle, anchor it, and watch it follow something in the video. We are excited to be bringing differentiated experiences based on AI and machine learning to over 250 million devices every month.
Everything is going to become more intelligent as you think about that, managing your files, creating, and all those things. But really, the biggest AI delivery vehicle in Microsoft is Office 365. With a total of 150 million monthly active users, it's really a key part of everyday AI we are working on. So I'm going to invite my colleague Rob to come up to show you some cool features, what we do with AI in Office. Rob?
Thank you, Harry. Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Howard. I work in the Office product marketing team, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about the AI-powered tools we're adding to Office to help people do their best work. Now, the truth is, we've actually used AI in Office for many years. You can think of features like spell check and flash fill and recommended charts that are a standard part of the Office you know and love. But with the advent of Office 365, when we took the cloud and deeply integrated it with all the apps across Office, it really accelerated our progress in AI. And as Office 365 has grown, it's become one of our biggest vehicles for delivering Microsoft AI technology to real people and helping them get real value out of it. You'll see how we're using that world data, user data, and especially work data to help save people time, to help them focus on the things that matter most to them, even help them be better writers and unlock hidden insights in their data. I'm going to start off by showing you 4 of my favorite AI-powered features in Office. These are features that I use every day, and you may have seen some of them, but like any good AI, they've gotten better as more and more people have used them, and I want to share with you the latest. And then I'm going to show you 4 new ways we're bringing AI into Office in the coming months. So let's get started here in the latest version of PowerPoint, available as part of my Office 365 subscription. I'm working on a presentation for the Contoso Mark 8 quadcopter. And I will tell you, I've spent most of my career as an engineer. So actually building impactful presentations takes more time and effort than I'd like. And just a second to come back up. So building impactful presentations takes me a lot of time and effort, and frankly, design skills that I just don't have. Luckily, that's where Designer comes in. Designer lets me focus on the content of my presentation, and it takes care of creating a beautiful representation of my ideas so that's as impactful on my audience as possible. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to start here on the title slide. You can see it's a little bit boring, but I have a few images that could spruce it up, and I'm going to drop them into the slide. And normally, I'd start rearranging them, cropping them, resizing them to create a layout that I was happy with, but Designer is always working for me in the background. And when I add that content to the slide, it automatically pops up for me with advice on how to lay them out. And as I click through them, you'll see it's creating these beautiful designs that are featuring the content I've added to the slide. And it seems really simple because Designer made it that way, but there's actually a lot of really incredible stuff going on here. Things like salient region detection and facial recognition and color analysis. So you'll see that even as it's cropping and resizing these images to build a beautiful layout, it understands that the hand and the quadcopter are the central point of the image, and it keeps them at the center even as it crops it, or the mobile phone and the remote control. And as it finds the darks in the electronics and the mountains and the blues in the sky and the water, it's able to echo those in the design of the slide through color analysis. And if I go to the next slide, you'll see I have a pretty long image here with a lot going on. There are a lot of different faces. There's this guy's yellow jacket here. And it'd be really easy as Cortana is pulling out a square image from it for it to just take the center or the left side.
but it's actually able to recognize the one in-focus face in that image. Oop. And as I page through the designs that Cortana has chosen for me, you can see it's making the face the hero of that image. Now, I told you these are getting smarter, and one of the ways that designers are getting smarter is it can deal with more types of content. So not just images, but now text. As I go to the next slide, you'll see a set of development milestones. Now, designers using natural language processing to understand that this is actually a timeline, a series of months. And it's able to create for me a beautiful representation of that timeline that really makes the milestones pop for my audience. Or I can go to this next slide where I've got a sequence of steps. And Designer recognizes that as well and lets me create a quick sequence diagram that clearly outlines the flow. And it's even able to do things like pull out the verbs from these steps and use them as a quick header. So I've seen how in a few seconds I can use AI to help me create a more impactful presentation in PowerPoint. Now we're going to switch into Word and see 3 more of my favorite AI-powered features already in Office. And we're going to start with another AI-powered assistant, Editor. Now, Editor goes way beyond the spelling and grammar checking that you're used to. It actually takes into account machine learning, natural language processing, and extensive and ongoing input from human linguists to actually make me a better writer. If I scroll down in this document, you'll see a bunch of examples of gold dotted underlines. And if I drill into them, you'll see that Editor can catch everything from overused cliches like think outside the box, to jargon like headhunting, and even potential bias like young blood. And for each of these, it not only detects the problem, but it suggests a solution, like maybe using new people instead of young blood. And if I'm interested in learning more about that recommendation, I can drill in to see more and get a lot of detail about its recommendation as well as other examples. And I can customize the way that Editor works. So if I really feel like I want to hold on to my vague adjectives and my Oxford commas, I can do that in order to preserve my personal style. Now, we've seen a couple of examples of how AI is helping me create better work, but AI can also help me work more naturally along the way. One thing we see people do a lot of is print off documents like these and then take a pen and write comments in the margin or mark them up with edits. And this sounds kind of silly, but it sort of makes sense. It feels really natural to use a pen. And recent research has shown us that actually using a pen activates your brain more deeply than using a mouse and keyboard, especially when absorbing information. But with AI and ink editor in Word, we can actually make using a digital pen and ink feel as natural as paper, just without all the printing and scanning. So I can do things like choose a red pen, and of course I can write in the margin. But this pen is actually better than a real pen in that I can make edits with it, like striking through this sentence, and those edits are automatically affected in the document. I can even go and change to a highlighter, and Ink Editor understands that I no longer want to strike something out, but add emphasis to it. And I can use gestures like a circle or a scribble, and Ink Editor understands exactly what I intended. So now I've done my editing. I actually want to add a little bit more content to this document. You'll see I need to go get a project milestone table and a forecast chart. And I know that these are things my colleagues were working on in other documents. So normally what I do here is I'd leave Word. I'd go into another tool like Outlook or OneDrive or SharePoint to go and search for that information. Once I finally found the document, I would go drill through it and find the table that I needed or the chart I was looking for. I'd copy that out. I'd come back to Word and I'd insert it. That would really break up the flow of my work. But with a new AI-powered feature in Word called Tap, I can directly within the flow of my work, in the tool I'm already using, take advantage of all of my organization's knowledge in order to find the right content. You'll see that I can do things now like filter down to specific content types. So I'm looking for this milestone table. I can choose tables. And the first thing that comes up, or on the first list that come up, is this Fabricam case study, where I know the project milestones are. And when I drill in, you'll see that it's not the entire document. It's actually breaking down the specific elements that I might want to reuse. And here I see that project milestone table that I can add to my document with a single tap. And because it's still a full-featured table, I can style it to look good in this particular document. Now, this cash flow forecast chart didn't show up as one of the top items. But that's OK, because TAP is actually tied into personalized search powered by OneDrive and SharePoint, so that when I type in forecast, I'm going to get results that I have access to and ones that are most meaningful and relevant to me. So you'll see that the cash flow forecast is actually the top item here. I can drill in and again find that chart, add it to my document. And because it's a full featured chart inside a Word, I can do things like add a trend line, again, without having to leave the flow of my work. So now I've shown you my 4 favorite AI-powered features already in Office. I'm going to switch to what's coming next. And we're actually going to start inside of Excel. Now, if there's one thing we've learned from our work in AI, it's that data is an incredibly valuable resource. And with hundreds of millions of people using Excel, there is a lot of data in Excel spreadsheets. And a lot of the data looks like this. It's a simple table, but there's a lot of columns, teams, category, type, line items. And I don't, looking at it, get a sense of how this data works. What are the trends? What are the ways that these different categories and columns affect the values? And I could, of course, use all the tools in Excel to go create charts and pivot tables to analyze it in a lot of different ways. But that would take me a lot of time, even as an Excel expert. But with Insights, which is coming to Office Insiders this month, I have an AI-powered assistant that will do all that legwork for me. So I can run Insights on this particular data set and really quickly get a sense of how it works. I can see things like spend increases over time. I can see that if I break down this data by type, payroll has a significantly higher spend than anything else. And if I drill into more insights, I can see deeper things. Like if I isolate just stock compensation, I can see a really significant outlier. And I might want to drill into that further. So I'm going to hit Insert Chart. And Insights will actually automatically create a pivot table for me in Excel tied to this data, showing me this exact insight. I can mouse over here, and I can see the outlier occurred on September 2013. But I really want to understand the source of that, so I can use Excel's functionality in pivot tables to break it down by team. And immediately, I can find that the engineering team is responsible for that outlier, and I can go and investigate further. So in just a few seconds, I was able to understand this data set and find a few key insights that I may want to investigate further. All right, now we're going to switch gears to things that are truly bleeding edge. And in fact, so bleeding edge that I'm going to connect to a devs machine in Dublin in order to show it to you. Earlier, we saw how in TAP, I can use organizational knowledge in order to more quickly access what I need and incorporate it into my own work. Now we're going to see how Word Online can connect to that in order to help you understand your company better. That organizational knowledge can be a barrier in addition to a help. I know at companies like Microsoft, like probably every large company, it can sometimes feel like we have our own language, especially when it comes to acronyms. When you move teams or work with different groups, it can be a barrier to understanding. And we're now connecting Word Online deeply with the Microsoft Graph and the work knowledge that it has, so that when I open a document like this, Word Online can use that knowledge, pulling from the emails that I have access to and the documents I have access to automatically identify acronyms in the document. And then within the tool I'm already using, identify them for me. So I can see AINR means artificial intelligence and research, and that it was found from my email. Or I can see things like NPS means Net Promoter Score, and it's found it from files that I have access to in my organization. And if I have one of these that I still don't quite understand, I see BPO means business planning and operations, but what exactly is that? I can even see exactly the source of the information and get an excerpt to understand that business planning and operations is actually a team at Microsoft. All right, so now I'm going to show you my last 2 demos, and they're both in Outlook. Outlook and recent features inside of Outlook, like Focused Inbox, has done a lot of work to help me spend less time managing my inbox and more time focusing on what matters to me. And soon, Outlook is going to help me do that within an email. If I open up this email here, you'll see it's got a lot of text, but we're actually going to use natural language processing to identify the action items in this text automatically. Open up the email. So I've got a quick video that I can show you on this one instead. Like I told you, this is bleeding edge stuff that's coming soon. Oh, there we go. It actually popped in. Sorry about that. So you can see that as I'm looking through this email, we're using natural language processing on the email to identify the action items in it automatically. So you can see the underlines under, did you see the update the partner sent us? And if I mouse over one of these action items, you can see it's providing suggested responses. And these aren't canned responses. It's not just yes, no, maybe. It said, did you see the update the partner sent us? And the responses are things like, yeah, I saw it, or no, what was it? So it's tailored to the specific action item. And when I say, no, what was it? Outlook automatically creates a reply. It quotes that action item, and it inserts my reply directly in line. And I can do that throughout the entire email, responding to each of these action items so I can really quickly make sure I'm covering all the action items and respond to them even on the go. The last feature I want to show you is in Outlook Mobile. And I have a feeling that this feature was built exactly for me. Anybody who works with you will tell me that I am a perpetually late person. I have a tendency to schedule meetings back to back. I don't really take into account how much time it will take me to travel between them. And it often happens that by the time the Outlook reminder shows up to tell me I need to be there in 15 minutes, it is going to take me way too long to get across town. Luckily, Outlook and Cortana will soon solve that problem for me. You can see that Cortana is giving me a notification that I need to leave by 5:05 to arrive on time for dinner with friends. And it's telling me it's going to take me 24 minutes to get to the lake house based on my current location and my current traffic conditions. So I know I'm not late. And I can even force touch into that notification so I can see a route to the destination that I'm going to and deep link into my favorite mapping applications to get directions. So that was a quick lap around all of the AI-infused features in Office, but really that's just a drop in the bucket. We've been hard at work adding AI to Office for years, and there are literally dozens of features that are AI-powered. You'll see things like Quick Starter and Researcher. You'll see things like My Analytics, Ink to Math, Ink to Shape, one of my favorites, Math Assistant. If you come over to the booth, we'll tell you all about the full story of Office and AI. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rob. It's just a lot of very exciting AI features that we already infused into Microsoft products like Office 365. But at Microsoft, we also want to make sure that we can offer this kind of incredible AI experiences to our partners and the developers. How can we help them to build just as exciting AI applications? I've talked earlier about AI platforms and other things. I also want to mention that key to making great AI apps is the data. That's where actually Microsoft is in a unique position to offer our partners, developers, and the partners to help them to build AI applications by providing them Microsoft graphs. It includes word knowledge graph, like what you can get from Bing and LinkedIn, and also work knowledge graph from Office 365 Dynamics. Now imagine that all our customers and partners, they can combine Microsoft graphs with their own business data and knowledge about their own users to build incredible AI applications for their customers, for their employees, and for their business. So we feel very, very excited about the opportunities there that we can work together. And one particularly unique thing about Microsoft is that we have worked long and hard to bring many of these graphs together, contained within a compliance boundary that actually conforms to our privacy, compliance, and also data policies. That's very, very important to enterprises. So those investments really underscore what we have been doing in Microsoft AI and the research. Those 5 things actually I talked to you today. I just want to finish my presentation by mentioning some also important and exciting topics nowadays as people talk about AI development in partnership, in society, and also in ethics. So as we embrace this AI frontier, we have to acknowledge that concerns about AI do exist. And it's actually important that we have some universal design principles and values that help guide our thinking, our design and development. At Microsoft, we take an ethical approach to AI design sincerely and seriously. Our principled approach is actually very critical we do these things thoughtfully and in a trustworthy way, both inside Microsoft and also outside. For example, internally, we have organized an advisory committee that helps ensure the adherence of these principles in our own AI development. And externally, we recognize that we cannot do that alone. So we co-founded the Partnership on AI just over a year ago. This is actually a nonprofit organization where you see many leading tech companies and academia, civil societies, and many, many nonprofit organizations who actually care about the future of AI development. So this is actually set up to study, formulate, and share the best practices on AI technology for all of us. So we also believe that we need to give back as we develop AI. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank iNaturalist, who is a great partner in our AI for Earth program. They are here today. I encourage you to stop by their booth to talk to them what they do for our society. And finally, I would say, as the first generation to live with AI, we play a very unique role in shaping the future. As we will do so, that is actually thoughtful. That is really our number one focus in Microsoft. So there's a lot we don't really know about the AI's impact yet. But what we do know is that AI has a lot of potential to really improve lives. And it's already happening now. So let me share a story with you about how AI has given voices to those who otherwise would have had none.
SwiftKey Symbols is a communication app for people who are non-verbal, and it supports them in expressing themselves.
Rowan, my youngest brother, has low-functioning autism. He finds it difficult to communicate and can get very upset if he can't make himself understood. I took what we used at home with some symbols that my mum would print out, laminate, cut out, stick Velcro on, put them into folders, and I just thought I could make that easier. If we did it on an app, they're more fun for Rowan because he loves technology.
The underlying AI technology which SwiftKey Symbols uses is the same technology which powers the SwiftKey keyboard. We use AI technology to be able to learn from the user's behavior, to see what they like to use in terms of their own style of language, to predict what's going to come next.
It works by having a library of symbols that you can pick and choose to build your sentence, and each symbol has a word associated with it. And we use SwiftKey AI predictive technology to learn what you've used previously, sentences that you've previously built, and then we surface what word you might want next and what symbol you might want next to build your sentence.
I want juice, please, Kate.
Wow! We developed it alongside Riverside School, which is a school specialising in learning difficulties.
To be able to express what they want without prompting is a really big thing. Go on then, ready? I want cow.
We have so many pupils who are non-verbal but still have so much to say.
I think AI can just make everything in life more efficient so you can enjoy life to the max.
There's no better feeling than to hear a child say something that they've wanted to say and the look on their face after they've been able to say it. You can't really beat that because that's them expressing themselves and that's really what you want from them.
It's joyous. I don't think I can think of a better word for it. It's complete joy and celebration.
It's really an incredible time working on AI and use AI to amplify human ingenuity. And we're very excited to work on those things at Microsoft. Thank you very much again for joining us today. Please, if you have time, hang on here, check out all the booths. Thank you very much.